You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Here we go.
Welcome back to the GrantCast, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Grant Baciocco. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for checking out this episode of the GrantCast. And I want to send a special thank you out to all the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who help make this show possible. We'll talk more about that at the very end of the show. But for right now, hello and welcome. I am back. Here in Southern California. My month-long journey, my over-month-long journey to the mountains of North Georgia is over. I'm glad I got to bring a little bit of that to you in terms of the podcast. But I am back, and it was an interesting trip. It was a fun trip. I was asked, would I do it again? And I said yes, with caveats that, if that's the right way to say that, caveats, that certain things be taken care of before I go out there, just in terms of details, because there was, for many reasons, there was some details that were... Anyway, I don't want to get into it. I'm back. I had a great time. I got paid. It was a job, and there we go. We are back. I wanted to say that shortly after arriving back, I think it was, I got back on Sunday, and I think this was maybe Monday or Tuesday of the week that I got back. I had to call 911. I'm not going to get into the details of why I had to call 911. I will say that everyone in this immediate household is absolutely fine, and that's not the reason I was calling 911. I saw a person in distress and called 911 in order to get that person help. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But that is the second time in my life that I've called 911. The other time was I was out. This was years and years ago. I was out on a run, getting some exercise, and this woman was pushing a stroller, and she was like waving me down, and I was like, yeah. And she said that like her baby was passed out and would not wake up, and she was very worried. So I called 911. And I was happy to help in that situation. But the interesting thing to me, having called 911 twice and having the same exact thing happen both times, is that the emergency services arrive, they are on the spot, they help the person in need, and then they leave without talking to me at all. And not that they have to talk to me. It's just a thing in my head where it's like, oh, if you call 911, they're going to come up to you afterwards and being like, is this what happened? And, just wanting more information. And that did not happen both times. And I guess I should be grateful. And I know that if they wanted to reach out to me and talk to me, they would definitely get a hold of me because they have my information. But it was it's just interesting that both times I called 911, I was standing right there as all the emergency services arrived. They took care of the problem and they left without speaking one word to me. And I'm not saying that like, oh, they should come up to me. Oh, thank you so much for it. No, not at all. It's just in my head, and I guess maybe this is movies or television. If you call 911, they're asking you all these questions, like, oh, when did you see this? And what did you see that? And none of that happened. And so it's just an odd situation in my head. But both times, the person that was in need got the help that they needed, and that is a good thing. Well, I want to back up and talk a little bit about my last night in Georgia. Our last show for Mirth and Mischief was Saturday night, and Sunday morning, I had an early flight to get back to Burbank. And I decided what I was going to do, since where Mirth and Mischief is about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic, away from Atlanta, where I would be flying out from. I decided what I would do is after the show, about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, closer to 11, I would go back to the cabin, pack up the rental car, and then I would drive to the Atlanta airport, and I got a room at a hotel near the Atlanta airport so I could sleep a little bit instead of having to wake up early and drive the 2 hours in the morning to get there before my flight. So that's what I did. I drove to the hotel. And on my way to the hotel, I was a little bit hungry. Now, I will say that I ate a lot of food in Georgia when I was there, because I always, when I'm in a new place, I like to try out things that we don't have here in Southern California. I tried a lot of barbecue, and I'm assuming that, I don't know, I think I did not go to the right places. I went to about 4 or 5 barbecue places. They were good, but it was not, oh my gosh, this is amazing barbecue. They were just okay. There was no, out of the like 5 or so places I went, there wasn't a barbecue place that really knocked my socks off. So that was a little disappointing. And I went to a bunch of like local restaurants in Helen, and I checked out things there. But I have to say, my favorite place that I ate, and I only ate there, I think twice, is a place called Cookout. Now, Cookout is like a burger chain, but it's in the South. Alabama, Georgia, places like that. That's where you go to get your Cookout burgers. And I tried the Cookout. I had always seen them. And I think on the Mystery Science Theater tour, we passed them, but I never went to one. And on this trip, I went to one, and I was like, wow, this burger, this is a great, fast food, if you want to call it fast food burger. This is really good. And they give you all these options for sides. You can have hush puppies, you can have fries, just lots and lots of options for sides. It's really great. And so I went there once. I will also say they have a huge milkshake selection. And while I was sitting down to eat the first time at Cookout, my friend John B. DeHaas called me. And John, I said, I'm at a Cookout right now, so I can't talk. And I go, I may get one of their shakes later. And he was like, oh, well, just so you know, their shakes are really, really super thick. And they only have regular straws. So it's almost impossible to drink the milkshakes. And I said, oh, okay, that's good to know. But here's the thing, friends. I don't drink milkshakes every place there is a milkshake. But if there is a peanut butter milkshake on the menu, I will try it out. And there was a peanut butter milkshake on the menu. I got it. That was the most solid milk. It was basically a cup of ice cream. And John was right. You could not drink it through that straw that they provide. And I basically had to drive for an hour because I was on my way back from, I think it was when I was coming back from Orlando, and I stopped at the Cookout. And it was an hour before I could even start taking a sip of my peanut butter milkshake. So Cookout, you got to get better straws. And what John says he does is that he goes to Starbucks and he gets, I guess they have bigger straws, and he has some of those in his glove box. And I was like, I don't go to Starbucks. I'm not going to go there, and I'm not going to go get a straw. Cookout should provide the straws that allow you to drink the milkshakes. Anyway, it was still a good milkshake, even though I had to wait. Maybe it was the anticipation that made me think that it was a good milkshake. But that's neither here nor there. I went to Cookout. I really liked Cookout. And I remember that they had a sign on the wall that said open late. And so I was driving back from Helen to Atlanta on the final night I was there, and I was a little hungry, and I said, I wonder if Cookout is open. Well, my friends, Cookout is open until 3 a.m. So, yes, they were open. So I was salivating on the way there to get my late night burger as my last meal in Georgia before I leave. And I pull up, and the Cookout is in sort of like, it's not really a strip mall, but it's like one of these kind of, it's these, you see them, I see them all over the country, where it's like a little shopping center with many different places in them. And then Cookout is right there, like kind of in the middle of the parking lot. And so I pull up, And let me tell you, it was probably about midnight. Cookout was jumping. There was a line of cars for the drive-through around just around the whole restaurant. All the other stores were closed. There were people walking around. There were people eating outside. But they were obviously there just for Cookout. There was no other reason really to be in that shopping center except to be at Cookout. So I parked the car, and the rental car I had was great, but it was a Jeep. So there's no trunk. So if you can put stuff in the back, but if people walk past your car, they can look in and they can see the back. And I don't really care about my suitcase. Like if someone's going to steal my dirty clothes, and my toiletries, go for it. But I did have my travel case for Toily, and Toily was in the travel case, and I had my backpack that had my iPad in it, and just basically my iPad in it. And I didn't really want to leave them in the car, even though the whole time I would be able to see the vehicle. There was just enough people walking around, and nobody looked like shady or anything like that. But there was just enough people walking around. Was like, if I leave these in the car and somebody steals Toily, I will be upset, and then when they open it, they will be upset. But I just want to prevent both of us from being upset. So I'm going to take the case with Toily in it with me into the Cookout. I didn't get into the drive-thru. I was like, the restaurant is open, so I'm just going to go in there. So I have my case. Now, here's the thing. I am 51 years old. I turned 51 last month. I still have a high school mentality where if I see a group of high school aged kids that are acting like they are the cool kids, I immediately feel that I'm going to be bullied. This is true. There's something about high school cool kids at that age that will still inflict fear in me that I got to watch. I just got to go right past them because they're going to say stuff and I don't want to interact and I don't want to get bullied and belittled. So I'm just going to go past them. So these group there, I'd say there's about 8 high school kids. Guys and girls, nice even mix. And I am walking past them because you have to go past them to go into the restaurant. And one of the girls turns to me and very nicely says, "Hello." And I said, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And she goes, "Good." She's like, "How's your evening?" And I was like, "Ooh, danger. I already do not want to be involved in this conversation." And I said, "Everything's going good, thanks." And she's like, "What's in the box?" Because I'm carrying Toily in the box. And I say, "If I told you, you would not believe it, but it is a puppet." And she's like, "A puppet?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm a puppeteer and I'm just coming from a show." "Well, where was your show?" And I say, "My show was in Helen, Georgia." And one of the guys goes, "Whoa, that's pretty far away." And I go, "Yeah, I know, I'm driving." And I'm just like inside, I'm wilting because I do not want to be in this conversation, right? It's my social anxiety. It is these kids are going to find something to make fun of me about. And I should not be scared of that, but that's what's going to happen. And I said, "Helen, Georgia." I go, "Yes, I did a show there. And now I'm driving back to the airport because I'm flying back to Los Angeles this morning or, tomorrow. And that's what it is." And they're like, "Oh, okay. All right. Well, enjoy your food." And I said, "Okay, great." So I go in and I order my food, and the guy behind the counter says, "Hey, just so you know, you can't eat inside the restaurant. You're welcome to order here. Take your order. We'll give you your food here, but you can't eat inside the restaurant." He kept calling it the lobby, which I've heard restaurants like Taco Bell or whatever calling the place where you eat the dining room, which is a stretch, but he kept calling it the lobby, which I thought was hilarious. He goes, "You can't eat in the lobby. You can eat outside or, you can take the food to go." So I look outside and the only table outside is right next to the kids. And I go, "All right, well," and here's the thing. I'm very particular about my food. When I get my food, I want to sit and eat my food. I don't want, I rarely, depends on what it is, do takeout where I get the food and then I bring it home and eat, because the food is like, you lose some of the warmth of the food being prepared. And I want to have the food be nice and warm, And so I just said, well, I guess I'll sit in the car and I'll eat. So I'm headed out through the same door, past the same kids, and I have my food, and I have the case with Toily, and the girl who said hello to me in a real sort of mocking, condescending voice says, well, have fun with your puppet. And I said, oh, thank you, I will. And this other girl goes, is your puppet famous? And I said, well, he's not really famous, but he has a big following online. And really? Well, what is his name? And I said, well, if you look up the Toily on any social media service, you'll find him. And they're all, oh, okay, we'll check him out. And like already they have their phones, and one girl goes, is it the toilet paper? And I go, yep, that's him. And they go, oh, cool. And I turn and I'm walking away. And this one girl at the top of her lungs goes, 3 million! 3 million! Because they have now looked Toily up on TikTok and are freaking out because he's got 3 million. And then this other girl goes, wait, he's got 350 on Instagram. And they're like, and then they just start going, woo! Woo! 3 million! 3 million! Like, it's 12:30 at night. They're in the middle of a parking lot. They're screaming. I'm laughing my ass off because it was really funny. And then this one girl's like, you go with your 3 million. You go. Yeah. And it was just like, wow, suddenly I have a cheering section in these kids at the cookout. It was just a funny story, and I hope you found it amusing as well. On my way home on the airplane, uneventful flight, which is a good thing these days, I saw something I'd never seen before, and that is in the bathroom, the lavatory of the airplane, there was a window. I've never seen a bathroom with a window, and let me tell you, first of all, it actually makes the bathroom very nice because you have daylight coming in from outside. But it is a weird feeling to be standing there, gentlemen, to be standing there using the restroom and looking out the window. And you just have this feeling of like, I'm peeing on the ground below. Watch out, people down below. But it was really cool to have a bathroom and a window. And I hope that this week, after you've listened to this episode, you find something that is as wondrous to you as a window in the bathroom was to me. I could have said that a lot better. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the GrantCast. Thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for checking it out. And that'll do it for this time. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Goodbye. This episode of the GrantCast was made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month. Patrons at the behind-the-scenes level and above get access to a video of the recording of these episodes, and all levels get the episodes before they are released to the public. Big shout out to all of our patrons, but a special shout out to our patron producers, Eve Cunning, Kathy Crawford, Tony Urbano, Brandy, David Akers, Paul, Scott Armstrong, Ricky Chavez, and Lee Thompson. If you would like to become a patron and receive episodes of the GrantCast before they are released and much more, visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly pledge today. And thank you for your support. This episode of the GrantCast is copyright 2025 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved, www.saturdaymorningmedia.com.
You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.